你干什么啦？
完了。
你知道这个世界上最差劲的男人是谁吗？是你。你看看你自己，你像个男人吗？钱没赚到，家庭没照顾到，工作一事无成，要能力没能力，要学历没学历，要本事没本事，老婆养不起，孩子没陪伴，30多岁的人了，人生都过去一半了，你知道吗？哎。
挣钱太难了，我今天是从早上8点半，然后出去跑车，跑到了1点钟，然后回来，然后吃了一点东西，然后下午2点半又开始跑到现在5点半，刚好来到学校再接我女儿。一天的流水下来就110块钱，真的姐妹们太难了，我感觉现在。
For the longest time, okay, for the longest time, women had it real good. All kinds of women too, whether if they were fat, ugly, or if they were single mothers. Many men will step up and wife her up and take care of the children that were not his. However, those days are over. Okay, the behavior of modern women have become so intolerable that the juice is just not worth the squeeze. What is up, dudes? It's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back with another video, back on Angry Guys YouTube channel. If you haven't heard of me, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel, Angry Matrix Gaming, where I talk about anime, gaming, Japanese culture, and a lot of other cool stuff. Click the link in the description. Go ahead and follow me. And guys, make sure to follow Angry Guy on Rumble. He's got a lot of cool content over there that he's not allowed to upload on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, click the link in the description. Follow him on Rumble. And guys, the economy is in absolute shambles. People that are losing their jobs cannot find another job. We've lost millions and millions of jobs in this economy, and you know, it's for many reasons. For the Trump tariffs, inflation, you know, unaffordability, and people are being pushed into homelessness, and they gotta find other ways to make money without a job, which is why Angry Guy created the Angry Content Creator Academy, where he's gonna teach you how to build an audience and create a digital product so you can start generating income. So check out the Angry Content Creator Academy. Click the link in the description. Now let's get on with our video. So today we are going to be reacting to China Unvarnished, and the title of the video is After Divorce, This Woman Learned How Hard Money Is. The Real Cost of Believing Toxic Advice. Okay, so again, this is another China YouTube channel, just basically telling similar stories about dating life and culture in China, and basically similar things that are happening in China. So let's go ahead and listen what they got to say. So here we go.
你干什么啦？
完了。
你知道这个世界上最差劲的男人是谁吗？是你。你看看你自己，你像个男人吗？钱没赚到，家庭没照顾到，工作一事无成，要能力没能力，要学历没学历，要本事没本事，老婆养不起，孩子没陪伴，30多岁的人了，人生都过去一半了，你知道吗？哎。
挣钱太难了，我今天是从早上8点半，然后出去跑车，跑到了1点钟，然后回来，然后吃了一点东西，然后下午2点半又开始跑到现在5点半，刚好来到学校再接我女儿。一天的流水下来就110块钱，真的姐妹们太难了，我感觉现在真的不知道该怎么办了，挣钱又这么难。不好意思啊，我不是在给大家制造焦虑，真的。我就觉得现在为什么这么不友好，一旦有一方做错事了，跟着受惩罚的也是我们这些全职妈妈。像我们出去找工作吧，还要有孩子，没有工作吧，又有负债，真的不知道该怎么办。
离婚的女人很吃香，哪怕带个孩子都有人抢。
Divorced women are in high demand. Even if they have a child, people will still fight over them. Have you been brainwashed by this kind of toxic chicken soup? As a divorced woman with a child, I will tell you what reality is really like. If you get divorced, and you also have a son, no matter how good-looking you are, after people hear it, they may not even be willing to meet you. Why? Because there are no such foolish men now. No one is willing to help raise someone else's child.
Exactly, exactly. And this is why I said that, women had it good back in the day. For the longest time, there's been many men who they will marry a woman, and if she has one or two kids, they will still marry her. They don't care, right? And they will take care of the kids, right? They would actually help take care of the kids, even if he's not the actual father. People do say that being a stepfather, stepmother is a thankless job, and I agree. Okay, I 100% agree. So, yeah, so back then people were willing to do that, and I think this was like a worldwide thing, you know. And in like the girl said, even in China, men were still willing to do that. In one of the reasons why a lot of dudes are willing to do that is because people like children. People see kids as innocent. Like whatever happens in an adult's life, like in the family, it's not really the kid's fault. The kids are just kind of following what the parents are doing, right? So that's why many dudes were willing to put up with it, and tolerate it because this is just kids. But nowadays, it doesn't matter how beautiful the woman is. Like, if she has a dirty attitude, she has like, all these expectations. Men are not dumb enough to do that anymore. They're not. They're not willing to do that. They're not willing to do that. So, feminism kind of ruined it. Because even a single mother was able to get a man back then, but now not anymore. There's like very, very, very few men that are willing to do that, and every day there's less and less men willing to tolerate that, and that's thanks to the internet, thanks to videos like this, the red pill, the MGTOW, teaching men about these things, right? So there's a lot of single mothers out there who cannot find a man, and the reason why they're looking for a man is because they want somebody to help them raise the kid. But if you're a single parent, you really should date other parents, right? A single mother should date a single father, right? But if you've seen anything, if you learn anything about this, is that many single mothers, they're not willing to marry a single father. They're not willing to create that Brady Bunch type of life like before. They're not willing to do that. So, yeah. So the only choice is stay single, right? Just stay single.
Men usually consider practical issues, thinking that later they will still have to buy a car and a house for your child. What a huge investment that is. Men are not stupid. So women, especially women who are currently in a marriage, if your personal ability is very average, or even very poor, then drink less toxic chicken soup. Because toxic chicken soup generally applies to women who are very confident, financially strong, and extremely capable personally. Really, because chicken soup does have some truth to it, but it does not suit everyone. So in marriage, it is very important that you recognize yourself and find your right position. Because I'm telling you, if you cannot find your position, cannot see yourself clearly, and because of your own drama, willfulness, and making trouble, your marriage ends up in a very bad situation, then I am telling you, no one will pay for your failed marriage, and no one will pay for your failed life. Many times, it is not that you cannot be willful, cannot be dramatic, cannot make trouble, and it is not that you cannot drink the chicken soup online, but these are not suitable in a marriage, and they also test your economic foundation and personal ability. If you are a very ordinary person, then you must be practical, and do not get brainwashed by some chicken soup.
Well, the main problem is that, marriage is not what it used to. Marriage is not what it used to be. Like, back in the day, people knew the roles. But now everybody just thinks that everybody walks into a marriage and they just think, oh, well, what are they going to do for me? Well, no, sorry, but that's not how it works. When you walk into a marriage, you have to think about what am I going to do for them? It's in reverse now. Everybody just thinks about themselves. It's me, 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 me. What am I getting? What am I getting? What am I getting? People have become so prideful and narcissistic, and this is why there's so many single ladies out there, and men are very comfortable being single in today's day and age, right? Including a very comfortable city like China, right? So, yes, back then, a lot of people complain about the old days, right? A lot of people complain about the old days, like, oh, like that people used to have a lower IQ back then, that that people were not as smart back in the day, decades ago, or in the 1950s, early 1900s, 1800s, right? We say all kinds of things about people back then, but look at us now. Look at us now with all this modern day technology. We got all this amazing technology all around us, right? And yet the birth rate is declining. People don't want to get married. Like finding somebody for marriage now is absolutely horrible, especially in Western countries, and apparently now in China, right? Nobody wants to get married, despite of the fact that we have the resources to have a quality of life. And even in countries like China, where like the cost of living is actually very affordable, like over there, like the dating is so bad that men don't want to get married. Because everything's about money, 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 money. Give me, give me, give me. What can I get out of you? That's what marriage has become. It's not about finding somebody to build a life with. It's finding somebody that can help you, like help feed you, or like, I don't know, like do things for you without you having to give anything. It's absolutely ridiculous.
尊敬的人民法院，你们好，我是一位来自河南开封36岁的单亲妈妈。
Hello, respected People's Court. I'm a 36-year-old single mother from Kaifeng, Hunan. To be honest, I have lived my whole life upright and straightforward. If I owed someone 500 yuan, I would still scrape it together overnight. But I never expected that, after the divorce, because I blindly invested in my own business startup, I did not expect that in the end it would lead to me being heavily in debt. In just a few months, I was put on the blacklist, and the few thousand yuan of living expenses left in my card were also all frozen and taken away. I even have to buy on credit from my neighbors to pay utilities. We also want to repay the debt, but when we go out to look for work, we find that we are dishonest persons, and not a single factory dares to hire us. I wanted to go set up a street stall, but I found that the payment QR code could not be used. When I was in debt, my life was all frozen. I cannot even pay my child's living expenses for school. Neighbors look at me like they are looking at a monster. I also wanted to go deliver food, but because I am a dishonest person, I was rejected by the platform, tied up on the dishonesty list and unable to move. I am not a deadbeat, and I do not want to become a deadbeat. I want to make money to repay my debts. I just want to not rely on men. I am just a single mother who wants to rely on my own hands to raise my child.
Okay, so she's saying, I don't want to rely on men. Okay, cool. But who built society? That's my question. Who built society? Because everything from the trains, the cars, the electric system, the the sewage system, all of that. Basically, all the really heavy, difficult jobs that women refuse to do, men do it, right? Because if there's no men working on the electric system, the sewage system, the water system, then all of society will collapse. So, and that's the reality. Many of them don't want to face, is that you do need us. You do need men in society. You do need men to. You have to rely on us. That's just how it is. That's just the way that God created this world. God created this world for that is dominated by men. But it's just recently in the last, 30 years that, well, the people at the top, who I'm talking about, they try to like switch it, right? They try to switch it to the point where like people can pretend like they don't need men, right? They want to pretend that. They want to pretend like this is the new world. But it's a lie. It's a lie. Men are always going to be needed. Even in today's advanced society, guys, not only is dating and relationships around the world, absolutely horrible, especially in, advanced countries, but the job market is absolute trash, especially here in America. We've lost, this year in 2025, we've lost 1 million jobs alone. But honestly, I think we have lost more than that, because there's so many people becoming homeless. There's so many people living in their cars. There's so many people getting evicted, losing their homes, going back to live with mom and dad. And there's so many people doing gig work. So a lot of people doing gig work, because when a really bad job market, and we have no idea when it's going to recover, many people are going to have to create their own jobs, create their own side hustles, find ways to make money. And what better way to make money than on the internet, which is why Andrew created the Content Creator Academy, where he's going to teach you how to build an audience online on the internet using YouTube and other social media platforms, and also how to create a digital product where you can start generating an income for yourself. So make sure to click the link in the description. If you do, you'll get a free guide once you sign up to the Content Creator Academy. So click the link below the video and subscribe today. And let's go ahead and continue on with our video.
People in debt really have it hard. So I beg the court, considering our situation as people in debt, please stop giving us special care. We only ask for a job that can support a family. Just give us a way to live. I will definitely use my own hands to earn back the debts I owe, little by little. This is not just my story, it is countless people who are being dragged down. We have no way to avoid being labeled as deadbeats, even breathing comes with heavy shackles. Please give us a chance to be cleared, and give children a future that is not discriminated against. This is more important than any judgment. Applicant, a single mother who wants to live.
怎么这么难赚呀？攒一点钱就要交这费就要交那费。前2天刚把暖气费交了，现在孩子的辅导班费又到期了。昨天我的车险也到期了。推销保险的一遍又一遍的给我打电话，我说我没钱，我先不交，他不死心。光今天上午就给我打了10几个电话，我没办法了。我说我口袋里还有121块钱，你要是缺钱，你要不然你先拿去。我离婚带着2个孩子，要孩子的费用太高了。孩子的爸爸也不给抚养费，每次跟他要抚养费就像挤牙膏一样，不挤就一点也不给。我本来是想做个好妈妈的，我努力赚钱，可是我赚的没有花的多，我不是个好妈妈。
官宣了，正式离婚了，终于结束了。
It is official. I am formally divorced. It is finally over. No need to guess. I will tell everyone openly. I got married for happiness, and I got divorced for happiness too. No one needs to laugh at me. I was not knocked down. I believe my future will be even better. Divorce is relief, it is rebirth. I used my best youth to go through 2 unbearable marriages, and it also brought me the deepest lessons. A divorce paper, each of us let go of the obsession in my heart, let go of those unbearable pasts. 2 unbearable marriages did not become a force that blocks me from continuing to move forward in life. I believe I will get better and better in the future. A blessed woman does not enter an unblessed family. Leaving you is not my loss, it is my rebirth. Goodbye to a 5-year marriage. I hope from now on we each live in peace.
You know, it's actually quite stunning that divorce is almost as if the divorce is celebrated as much as the wedding. I mean, obviously not in the same way, like putting up decorations, putting on a wedding dress and all that stuff, right? But overall, I think that, you know, a lot of people are much more happier getting divorced than actually getting married. Like whatever happened to finding the right person and so on, right? But I think one of the reasons why a lot of these marriages don't work well is because, you know, a lot of them go into believing, you know, a lot of them go into with a delusional mentality, right? Again, they believe it's about them. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be happy, and as soon as they're not happy, right? As soon as shit hits the fan or something difficult happens, or, you know, the first argument goes in, you know, they start, you know, they want to run. They want to run. That's the crazy thing. You gotta find a way to work things out. That's the problem. You gotta find a way to work things out. But and I think many of the reasons why people just don't do this anymore is because in the age of technology, you know, especially in countries like China, which is very high tech. I mean, they got cyberpunk cities, for God's sakes. In today's modern age of technology, people feel that they got so many options. So when people feel they got so many options, the way they see it is, oh, why would I want to deal with this? And the minute things get difficult, poof, they disappear. And if you treat every single relationship in that way, where you could just disappear whenever you want, then you're not going to have much of a relationship. You might as well just, you know, make friends and that's it. But yeah, nobody's taking it seriously. Nobody's taking it seriously. And let's face it, man. Marriage is not always all sunshines and rainbows. And yeah, you can be happy in a marriage, but what people don't seem to understand is that, especially back in the old days, originally marriage was about duty. Marriage was about duty, and people don't want responsibilities anymore. Nobody wants responsibilities.
人生真的会好起来吗？离婚2年了。
Will life really get better? It has been 2 years since the divorce, and I still have not let my child live a good life. How hard is it to raise a child alone? 2 years ago I took my child and left my ex-husband's home. At that time I had no money at all. The first problem I faced was surviving. I took my child to look for many jobs, but I found that there was simply not a single job that could both make money and also take care of the child. But I believe heaven always leaves a way out, and I finally found a job that provided meals and housing. The work was relatively easy, and I could also accompany my child, but the pay was really too little, so little that it was not enough to support the life of the two of us. I felt this was not the life I wanted to give my child. I wanted to give my child a better life. I wanted to give him a home. So 2 months later I resigned, and used a credit card to rent the place I live in now. Actually at that time I did not think clearly about what to do next. I thought, it cannot be that life will force me to death. Worst case I will just deliver food. After renting the place, the pressure became huge. Every time I open my eyes it is rent, tuition, and living expenses. I found it seemed like I really could not find a job with hours from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. that could still support my child. Open a shop? I seem to not even have the capital. Set up a street stall? The child still needs to sleep early and wake up early. I found that delivering food seemed to become my only choice. In the end, with no way out, I really chose to deliver food.
All right, so she has been struggling ever since she got divorced. And of course, one of the reasons, I mean, if you've noticed, we are about almost halfway through the video, and none of them actually explain why they got divorced. They never really explained the reason, right? Never really explained the reason. And that's what all of us would like to hear. But look, I was looking at the countries. I was looking at the countries with the lowest divorce rate, right? And on Google, it said India, Sri Lanka, Peru, Vietnam, right? Vietnam, Guatemala, and Malta. I don't know. Never heard of Malta, honestly. I don't know where that country is located. But one of the common things that I found about all these countries with low birth rate, it's not low birth rates, low divorce rates, excuse me, is that they all had some type of, they were all kind, I don't want to say really religious countries, but they were all more traditional, right? They were all more traditional, especially India. India's very, there's a lot of religions in India. And so these countries all have faith, right? They all have some kind of faith, right? Some kind of faith. If it's not Christianity, it's Buddhism, Hinduism, whatever, right? Some kind of faith, some kind of belief that there's something greater out there, right? And faith, religion, was something that held people together. Held people together, gave people a sense of duty, right? I'm a Christian myself. I believe in Jesus Christ, right? And that's something that also helped people stay together. But as we progress, as intelligence increases, as technology advances, more and more people, they just, they stop believing in God. They stop believing in God. And I don't want to say that the Chinese are atheists. I don't think they're atheists. I think that similar to the Japanese, right? Similar to the Japanese, they have like these old traditional religions, like I think it's Taoism. I think Taoism, Buddhism, and I forgot, it was something else. But they also have like the Shaolin temples, all that stuff, right? So they have a lot of like shrines, where you can go and pray to the spirits or whatever, right? I don't know all the religions that they have over there, but the point is that they, people that are more religious tend to have longer lasting relationships. They have, because their relationships are driven by purpose, right? Nowadays, like I said, it's like a lot of relationships just don't have any purpose. It's mostly about pleasure, right? And like a lot of these women here in this video, they were saying that that they got married to be happy, okay, but they never thought about, the difficult things, the hard times that were, that could possibly happen. It's good to get married, it's good to want to be happy, but you know, you're not always going to be happy in a marriage. You have to be willing to deal with the hard times, and that's what nobody wants to do. Nobody wants to admit. In this generation around the world, many people they don't want to suffer. They want to escape suffering.
And I have been doing it for 2 years. Every day I start early and end late. I have to work more than 12 hours to earn enough living expenses. I do not dare to rest, and I do not dare to get sick, because resting for one day means going into debt for one day. To stay alive, it feels like I do not even have a life anymore. I do not even dare to rest during the new year. To be honest, I am tired every day, physically and mentally exhausted. The most exhausting thing is that I cannot see hope that life can get better. Slowly, I found that I seem to have completely lost my love and hope for life. Actually, what hurt me and frustrated me the most in these 2 years is that my child suffered so much with me. In the summer heat of nearly 40 degrees, my child accompanied me under the blazing sun, getting tanned into a little black kid, tortured by the heat for the entire summer. Even if we encountered severe weather with strong winds and heavy rain, soaked all over, he still had to accompany me to hold the post. I do not know how many times he ate on my electric bike, and I do not know how many times he slept on my electric bike. The electric bike became his moving bed. Last winter, in -17 to 18 degrees, my child accompanied me in the icy snow for an entire day, trembling from the cold all over. His delicate little hands were frostbitten and swollen more than once. I never expected that my child would go through all of this with me. My heart is bleeding. I feel I am the most failed and most unqualified mother in this world.
Look, man, I know that in this space, in the MGTOW, the red pill space, we like to make fun of single mothers. We like to make fun of these women that have made bad decisions. But personally, I really feel bad for them. I feel bad. I feel bad because at least here in America, there's a lot of help. I mean, I know, granted, Donald Trump is taking away a lot of that assistance. But before the Trump in 2024, right, there was a lot of assistance for single mothers, a lot of assistance for children. There's a lot of assistance for, there's a lot of programs that will help these people, right? So at least, they didn't have to struggle that much. They didn't have to struggle that much, but in Asia is not known for having all these programs, because in Asia, they're assuming if you get pregnant, if you had a child, you have to get the father to help. So being a single mother in countries like China, Japan, Korea, it's a bit of a death sentence. You're probably not gonna get married again, right? It's gonna be hard to find another man that will want to marry you. Right, it's gonna get hard. It's gonna get hard because there's no real assistance, right? And there's parts of the Chinese economy now that is crumbling, that is really, really falling apart. Especially after the tariffs, after the Trump tariffs, a lot of factories in China they started to lose business, started to close down. So it's really scary. It's really scary. So I definitely do feel for her. Again, like I said, a lot of us here in this space, we like to make fun of, women's bad decisions and single mothers. But for this one specifically, I feel bad. I feel bad. And it's because I'm the type of guy, I care about the kids, man. I care about the kids. I want to be a father someday, and I don't want my kids to go through similar things. I want to be able to take care of my kids. I want to be able to provide for them, make sure that they got a roof over their head, food, education, all that stuff that... Right, all those things, and I pray that Jesus Christ help me take care of my family. But this is sad. This is sad, and and it all has to do with values. And I'll say this again: we don't really know why these people are breaking up. Okay, in America, it's recorded that 80% of divorces are started by women, right? So it's women that get divorced first. They are the ones that want divorce because for whatever reason, they want to focus on their happiness, or whatever it is that they want. So I'm assuming, I'm wondering if it's the same thing in China.
These 2 years have also become the 2 years of my life that I cannot bear to look back on the most. These 2 years we have suffered a lot, endured a lot, we overcame many difficulties. We broke down, we despaired, but it seems we never gave up. I asked myself countless times, do I have to deliver food for my whole life? I really do not know, as a single mother like me, where even staying alive is a problem, how on earth should I raise my child, and what on earth should I do to change my desperate situation? Actually, I really want to know, will life really get better? I have no answer. Right now I am still confused, but in my heart I am still holding on to one breath. This breath is, as long as I still have one breath left, I will never give up, and I will work hard to give my child a better life. This is the promise I made when I firmly took him away back then. I will not give up.
这个时候我觉得自己过得很失败。
1 year after the divorce, I feel that I am living a very failed life, so today I will show you my real situation after the divorce, with nothing held back. Before the divorce, I took out loans to buy a house worth more than 5 million yuan. After the divorce, the house was awarded to me. I am now unemployed, the mortgage has been cut off, and I am carrying 3.8 million yuan in debt. I have been placed on the credit blacklist as a dishonest debtor, and all of my credit cards and small loans are overdue. In front of my friends, I usually appear quite optimistic, but money really can crush a middle-aged divorced woman. Something happened today that truly broke me. Today is my son's 3rd birthday, and I wanted to buy him the cheapest birthday cake. I searched the entire internet and found that the cheapest one cost 44 yuan. But at that moment, there were only a little over 20 yuan left in my bank card. In that instant, I felt extremely unbearably wronged. Why is life so hard? I am already 37 years old, and I do not even have the ability to buy my son a 44 yuan birthday cake. At that moment, I felt that my life was truly a failure. All the suffering I have endured over more than 30 years, losing even more money, enduring more ridicule, and bearing more humiliation. None of that compares to this moment. On my son's 3rd birthday, I could not even afford 44 yuan to buy him a cake. This is the kind of grievance that hurts the most. I feel deeply sorry to him. This year he should have been attending kindergarten, but because I have no money, he has not been able to go at all. I am already 37 years old. Is there any 37-year-old single mother living a more miserable life than me? Is there any single mother doing worse than I am?
You know something, for the sake of the children, for the sake of the children, it is better to stay together than to get divorced, right? Because this is what adults don't, maybe they don't seem to understand, or they just really don't care. During a divorce, the ones who suffer the most are the children, because the adults can just walk away. It's the kids that suffer. It's the kids that suffer, bro. They're the ones that go through all the shit. They're the ones that get the most traumatized, you know, because mom and dad didn't get along or whatever. But, you know, for the sake of the kids, they should at least, right? They should at least stay together for the kids, you know. But in her case, what she was saying, it seems like the father just wasn't around whatsoever. And again, we don't know why these divorces happen. We don't know why these divorces happen, but I'm guessing. Okay, I'm guessing similar to America, and I'm just guessing. I'm guessing they're the ones that engaged it. They're the ones that engaged it. So, you know, it's in certain situations, it's kind of hard to you know, to feel sorry for them. But again, me personally, I feel bad for the kids. I feel bad for the kids because they're the ones that suffer the most, you know?
Divorced women, most of them will regret it. This is not nonsense. There's simply too many real examples. Many people in the moment get hot-headed and say divorce, and they divorce, but not long after, they regret it so much their intestines twist into knots. When they want to turn back and beg the ex to reconcile, the other side does not even respond. Some women always think that changing a husband will make life immediately flourish. But I have to remind you, ideals are full, reality is harsh. Most women were led astray by so-called good sisters around them. You tell them a little about the unhappiness in your marriage, and they immediately fan the flames. Oh, you are still enduring it. If it were me, I would have left long ago.
Okay, let me stop the video right there. And this is another problem. It's I don't understand if you are having a marriage problem, especially with girls. Why is it that they always go to their female friends for advice. Mind you, they're single. They're single female friends because we've talked about this in the manosphere, is that women keep other women single. And a lot of single women, they convince married women to get divorced, right? There's a reason why those girls are single, is because nobody wants to date them. So here you are, you got a husband, a child, you get an apartment or a house, and you're willing to ruin all of those things because one of your female friends said to divorce your husband. Why not go to therapy? Why not, talk to your parents, right? Talk to your parents. Is that people are so horrible at communicating. This is how these things happen. This is how these things happen. They're only thinking about themselves. Like, you got to sit down and talk about these damn problems to come up with a solution. Otherwise, there's going to be no solution whatsoever. And then people just get hot-headed. They throw a tantrum, and then they get divorced, right? Or one day they go to the bar hanging out with Keisha and Tanisha. And Keisha and Tanisha are like, oh, why are you tolerating that? Freaking, if I were you, I would divorce him. And then just from that, the wife divorces the husband. This has happened a lot. I've actually seen it happen. I've seen it happen. It's like a lot of girls, they rather listen to everybody else except their husband. Why is that? Why the heck is that,
You hear it too much, and your mind starts to waver, thinking that divorce is a new life, a new start. But once you really choose divorce, they pat their butts and leave, and the one who lives a hard life in the end is only you. Reality is far more cruel than you imagine. Even if you are young and pretty, once you become a divorced woman, especially if you also have a child, many men will feel uneasy. In the end, not everyone is willing to accept someone else's child, let alone be willing to cherish you as if you were in a first marriage. Men who truly have good economic conditions and mature minds are either already married or they simply do not consider remarriage at all. If you want to meet a second marriage man who truly accepts you, it is mostly a luxury. And many times, a second marriage often hides deeper pits. On the surface, it is calm, but behind it, each has their own calculations. In fact, sometimes, two people sleep in the same bed, yet it is like they live in two different worlds. Especially when both sides have children, then family conflicts can be said to come one after another. Educational concepts, financial sharing, emotional belonging, all of them can become a fuse. In the first few years, maybe there is still a little bit of passion, but as the days pass day by day, you will find that couples who can truly support each other are far too few. Most are just partnering up to get through the days. You dislike your ex-husband for being incapable and not considerate, but have you thought about it? He may not have made big money, and he does not understand romance, but he was willing to shoulder things for this family. Some men just look incapable on the surface. If you are more patient, life can still move forward, and it can get better and better. Do not get brainwashed by those so-called divorce freedom theories on the internet, making decisions impulsively. The one who suffers in the end is often yourself. As long as the person around you is still willing to change, and he is willing to communicate, then do not let go easily. Otherwise, if you really take that step, it will be hard for you to turn back.
So something that the narrator in the video did not mention, maybe he forgot to mention it, but is that nowadays, and it just seems like this is in advanced countries like China, Japan, Korea, America, the UK, is that a lot of these girls, they want somebody that's already made, somebody that already has everything, and the reason why is because they don't want to put any work in it, right? They always say that a man's got to make a six-figure income. He's got to have a house, a car, a nice car, all these things, because they don't want to work towards those things. As opposed to before, in the old days, when you get married, you and, the husband and wife, they would build a life together, and they would get those things, slowly, year by year. Maybe the first 2 years you work on getting a car, right? Work on getting a new car. And then like 3, 4, 5 years later, you work on getting a house, right? Teamwork. It's teamwork, but nobody wants to do teamwork anymore. It's all about me. I'm the only one that matters. You know, work for me, worship me. It's like they just want to be worshipped. They want somebody to, like, you know, worship them and focus on them only. And this type of selfish attitude just really does not work. You know? And I think this is one of the reasons why, you know, a lot of girls, they just make the wrong decisions. Also, being a good man doesn't work. Being a good man is not enough today. You gotta you gotta do a million things nowadays. But hey, whatever your thoughts are, make sure to comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, it's your boy Andy Matrix. Godspeed, baby.